You call it laziness. But what if it's not? What if the heaviness you feel when you wake up isn't weakness, but a quiet cry from within, a signal that something deeper is missing? You're not lazy. You're lost. And no one ever taught you what to do when your soul loses direction. In a world obsessed with speed and noise, stillness feels like failure. You're judged not by who you are, but by how much you produce, how fast you move, how little you rest. So when you slow down, when your body and mind hesitate, you're labeled slacker, procrastinator, waster. But laziness isn't your enemy. It's your alarm. It's the soul's way of saying, I'm exhausted from pretending to care about things that don't matter to me, and maybe you do care, deeply, but you've been pushed so far from your center that even passion feels like pressure. So you stop, not because you're lazy, but because you're searching. And that search is where your real story begins. No one tells you what to do when your dreams stop making sense. You follow the path, school, job, expectations, and suddenly you're deep into a life that doesn't feel like yours. You wake up each day with tasks to complete, but no reason to complete them. You're not resisting work. You're resisting a life that feels empty. It's not laziness. It's emotional rebellion. You're not tired because you've done too much. You're tired because nothing you're doing feels meaningful. And meaning isn't found in checklists or paychecks. It's found in the quiet sense that your actions matter. But when everything you do feels disconnected from who you are, your body shuts down, your mind wanders. You escape into distractions not because you're weak, but because reality has stopped feeling real. This isn't a discipline problem, it's a direction problem, and buried underneath all of it is a question you're afraid to ask. What if the life I built isn't the life I need? Until you answer that, nothing will feel right. Because you can't force purpose. You can only rediscover it, one honest step at a time. You look fine on the outside, smiling when you're expected to, laughing when you should. But inside, there's a quiet war, one you don't talk about. A war between who you are and who you're pretending to be. It's not that you don't want to try. It's that every time you do, something inside resists. You start something and abandon it. You make plans and break them. You set goals only to feel hollow the moment you reach them. That's not laziness. That's your soul rejecting a life that doesn't fit, and it hurts because you blame yourself. You think, why can't I just be normal? But what you don't see is that your mind is doing everything it can to protect you from a path that isn't yours. This is the part no one talks about, how silence becomes your loudest scream. How numbness can be the mind's last defense against a world that demands too much and gives too little back. You're not failing. You're awakening. The life you're resisting is the one you were never meant to live. You don't need to be fixed. You need to be found. Let that sit for a moment. Because right now, you're not stuck due to weakness or laziness or failure. You're stuck because somewhere deep inside you, something essential went missing. A sense of connection. A sense of direction, a reason for being that wasn't handed to you by someone else. And now, without it, you move through life like a ghost, visible, but not truly seen, functioning, but not alive. You may not even remember when the shift happened. Maybe it was gradual, like a slow leak in your spirit. One quiet compromise after another. You said yes when you wanted to say no. You showed up when you wanted to disappear. You followed rules you never agreed to and wore masks just to be acceptable. And now you wonder why you feel empty, heavy, numb. But here's the truth. No one tells you. You can only fake it for so long before your soul pulls the emergency brake. That's what you've been feeling, this unbearable resistance to life as it is. The body that won't get out of bed. The mind that drifts in a fog. The sudden tears that come from nowhere. It's not laziness. It's your internal compass screaming, this isn't it. And the more you ignore that signal, the louder it gets. You're not meant to run forever. Our culture worships speed, hustle, always-on productivity. You're taught to measure your worth by what you can check off a to-do list. You're told that stillness is laziness and questioning is weakness. So when you finally slow down, you feel guilt instead of relief. You panic instead of breathe. But here's something you were never taught. Pausing isn't failure. It's wisdom. It's your subconscious calling for a detour, a breath, a reevaluation. It's not about doing less. It's about doing differently, from a place of alignment, not obligation. But alignment requires something terrifying in today's world. Honesty. You have to ask the questions that make you uncomfortable. Why am I doing this? Who am I trying to impress? Is this success or just survival? And when you begin to answer, honestly, the facade starts to crack. The roles you play no longer fit. The people who like the old version of you might not stick around. The structure you built, safe, predictable, accepted, starts to collapse. And it's terrifying, but necessary. Because sometimes the life you created has to fall apart for the life you need to begin. The lost parts of you aren't gone. Just hidden. You weren't always like this. There was a time when you were curious, excited, full of wonder. You asked questions that didn't have answers. You imagined without limits. You acted from instinct. But as the world crept in, so did fear. So did the need to belong, to succeed, to be normal. So you edited yourself. You trimmed down your wild edges. You silenced your weird ideas. You picked the smart path over the one that called to your heart. And one day, you stopped, recognizing the person in the mirror. But here's what's beautiful. The real you never left. They're still there, buried beneath the performance. That quiet part of you that still dreams, still aches, still remembers. And the moment you stop numbing, stop distracting, stop forcing yourself to function, that voice gets louder. It starts with whispers. This doesn't feel right. I miss who I used to be. There has to be more. Don't ignore those whispers. Follow them. They are your guide back home. Redefining productivity. What if healing is the goal? You've been told that your worth is in how much you can produce. That rest must be earned. That you're only valuable when you're achieving something tangible. But what if we redefined what it means to be productive? What if healing counts? What if discovering your real desires, your forgotten passions, and unexplored truths is the most important work you'll ever do? You're not lazy for not fitting into a system that rewards burnout. You're awake. You're not dysfunctional. You're misaligned. And no amount of planning or pushing will fix that. Because you're not here to be a machine. You're here to feel, to connect, to be. Let yourself slow down. Let yourself wander. Let yourself not know. Because not knowing isn't the absence of intelligence. It's the presence of curiosity. And curiosity is what leads you back to life. Everything changes when you shift your inner dialogue right now. You speak to yourself like an enemy. You berate, you punish, you compare yourself to people who are running races you don't even want to be in, and you wonder why you can't move. But what if you spoke differently? What if, instead of asking, "What's wrong with me?" you asked, "What happened to me? What am I grieving? What part of me is trying to be heard?" Because no one thrives under constant criticism. Not children, not plants, not your inner self. You've survived under pressure. Imagine who you could become under compassion. Be kind to the part of you that shut down. That part was trying to protect you. That part knew something was wrong long before you admitted it. And it deserves to be held, not judged. The rebuilding begins. With one choice, you won't wake up one day with all the answers. There won't be a lightning bolt moment of sudden clarity. Rebuilding is quiet. It's slow. It's subtle. It looks like saying no without guilt. Letting go of people who drain you. Choosing what excites you over what impresses others. Waking up one day and realizing you feel lighter. But it all starts with one choice. To stop abandoning yourself. Stop betraying your truth for comfort. Stop sacrificing your peace for approval. Stop waiting for permission to live a life that makes sense to you, because no one else is coming to do this for you. You're the only one who knows what feels wrong, and you're the only one who can reclaim what feels right. Let the world call you lazy. While you build something true, they will misunderstand you. When you step back, when you rest, when you say, "This doesn't work for me anymore," they'll call you lazy, dramatic, difficult, irresponsible. Let them. Because every minute you waste trying to prove yourself to people who don't see your heart is a minute, stolen from the life you're trying to create. You don't owe anyone your suffering. You don't owe the world your exhaustion. You owe yourself a chance to rebuild, to redefine, to recover the parts of you that still shine in the dark. The road ahead, walking without a map, you won't always know where you're going. You'll doubt. You'll take wrong turns. You'll circle back. But if you're listening to your inner compass, you'll never truly be lost again. Because lost doesn't mean hopeless. Lost means you're still searching. And that search is sacred. Stop looking for a destination. Start living the questions. What would my life look like if it was mine? What would I do if I wasn't afraid of starting over? What if this breaking point is actually a beginning? Because sometimes it takes losing the life you had to find the one you were meant for. Final words. You were never lazy. You were always becoming. This isn't about becoming someone else. It's about unbecoming everything that was never truly you. The fog, the fatigue, the hesitation. It's all part of the unraveling, not of your identity, but of your conditioning. You're not stuck. You're shedding. You're not behind. You're becoming. And one day, sooner than you think, you'll look back on this chapter, not with shame, but with reverence. You'll say, "That was the moment I stopped performing and started living." So no, you're not lazy. You're not broken. You're not less than. You're on the edge of something real. Let the old story go. Start listening to the one that's been trying to speak through you this entire time. One line CTA. The life you're meant for begins the moment you stop apologizing for wanting something more.